The problem with uncertainty, and as you can see, problem, it is, right, quote, because I want to really emphasize on this topic about what we think many times is a problem is actually not a problem, it's just what it is. And this is what I want to talk today. So welcome back to another episode of Rapid Subconscious Reprogramming. Here, Tommy Walker, the Mind Engineer. Welcome back, and I hope you enjoy this. Let me see, here you go. So if you're watching live on social media, hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. Remember, when you engage with this, more people get to see these things, more people get to benefit. So if you can share, if you can comment on social media, that will be great. Remember, I do this every week to share with millions around the world, more people better, right? To help them understand how the mind works and how to start making changes. So again, going back to the topic for today, the problem, right, with uncertainty. Well, there you go, some confetti. So we need to understand what is going on in the mind with uncertainty, right? And how the mind handles uncertainty. Because the truth is, do you know what's going to happen tomorrow? Do you know where you're going to be in a year from here? Do you know what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, right? We have no idea what's going to happen. If we look at the two sides that I normally talk about, if you're not very spiritual, don't worry, but from the spiritual side, right, what I believe in, there is no control. There's just love and acceptance of what is. So uncertainty from the spirit side would be just love and accept what is and go with the flow. But when we go to the ego, of course, the ego is trying to protect us. Remember, again, I always say this, but once again, the ego is a part of us that is trying to protect us from pain. So if I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and listen to this is so amazing how the mind works and so basic. If I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And the mind start thinking, oh, what if I make a mistake tomorrow? What if I get fired? What if? The mind starts creating these scenarios in the mind to try to protect me from something bad happening tomorrow, in a year, or in 2 years. So it's trying to control. So uncertainty to the ego is the worst thing that it can happen. But there's a reason why. There's a reason why behind it. Because again, uncertainty creates anxiety, creates stress. Even it can bring some depression, overthinking, and many negative things. So if we understand that now uncertainty is hitting on the ego side, not so much on the spirit side, let's try to go deeper into understanding why. Why is it that the ego, gets so uneasy with uncertainty? Because as I said it 2 minutes ago, right, just to refresh, the mind cannot protect and it's scared of confirming negative stories that are already in the back of my mind. So look at this. If I feel that, and I think, let's put it this way, if I think that I'm inadequate, I have a false belief that I'm not good enough, I have a false belief that there's something wrong with me, that I'm not lovable, that I'm not good enough, that I cannot achieve this or that, uncertainty is the enemy. Because for the mind, I need to try to feel good enough, deserving, valued, lovable, adequate. So the mind needs that. Why? Because it's trying to deny the false beliefs, the partial truths, false beliefs, limiting, negative, false beliefs that are in the back of the head. Remember, as we were growing up, different things happened to us that created negative stories. These negative stories created, in a way, also these negative beliefs. I'm not good enough. That's why my mom is screaming at me. I'm inadequate. That's why my dad is beating me up. I'm not lovable. That's why my parents don't give me what I want. Whatever it is, a story you made up. Hasn't it ever happened that you were reading a sign somewhere or you're reading a book and suddenly you realize that the word that you saw or the message that you saw was not exactly what was there? Imagine you saw a sign, like my son was telling me yesterday, oh, Dad, it's so funny. I read the word AR, like, sorry, not the word, the ending of a word AR. And in my mind, he told me, and in my mind, what came was dollar, and it had nothing to do with dollar. I just saw the AR letters, and the first word that popped into my mind was dollar. So the mind was trying to make sense of a couple of letters. So again, as we're kids, the mind is trying to make sense. If I'm yelled at, it needs to make sense. Why am I yelled at? And I cannot think as a little kid, oh, my parents are having a bad time. My parents are stressed. They're not being able to pay the bills. So they're, being angry at me because of their frustration, whatever, because I'm asking them to buy things. And as they don't have the money, they feel frustrated. And instead of loving and accepting what it is, they're screaming at me, you shouldn't be asking for stuff. I cannot pay for that or whatever. I'm not going to buy you that. Instead of really explaining what's going on, they were beating us emotionally, mentally, or even physically because of their own frustrations. So the mind needed to make sense. In the needing to make sense, it cannot think that I'm the problem. As a kid, we think that the problem, sorry, that I'm the problem. Sorry, I'm going to check that. Sorry, correction. The little kid thinks that he is the center or she is the center and she is the problem or he is the problem. The other way around, sorry. So when parents do things to us, we start thinking that we are the problem, and we start making sense of that. I'm not good enough. I'm not valuable. I'm not loved. I'm inadequate. I'm a failure. So as we go through life and we start growing up, unfortunately, those beliefs turn to become what we truly believe about ourselves. If we get a bad grade, we're confirming that. If a girl rejects us when we're trying to date, if a guy is mean with you, right? You start confirming those beliefs. As you confirm those beliefs and the mind needs to control, uncertainty is the worst thing that could happen. Because if next month I'm not going to make it economically, if next month, when I have this, meeting at work where I might get a raise and I don't get it, or my partner walks away, or something negative happens, I'm going to confirm, quote unquote, I'm going to confirm the negative self-images, negative beliefs that I have in the back of my head, that I now call them partial truths because they come from somewhere. They're not just not true, as a lot of people talk of false evidence appearing real, as in fear. It is true. It is true that you don't feel good enough because your parents yelled at you, because your parents hit you. So there is a partial truth into that. Denying that is a big problem. But we're talking about uncertainty right now. So uncertainty is the enemy to the ego. Because again, I cannot control what's going to happen tomorrow. I cannot control if my partner is going to do this for me or that, if she's going to walk away. I cannot control if my boss is going to give me a raise. I can do the best I can, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to get that raise. So uncertainty goes against the ego because the ego is trying to confirm things to deny the beliefs that are already in the head. So that's why a lot of people struggle with uncertainty and they don't like it and they try to control. And that's from here that a lot of people struggle with OCD, obsessive compulsory disorder. OCD is the byproduct of what's going on in the mind. OCD is not like a disease, like, when you have this or that and there's nothing you can do, supposedly according to medicine, right? OCD is a byproduct. I'm protecting myself, so I try to control. And I start trying to control more and more till it becomes very obsessive because I'm trying to avoid feeling pain. Remember the two human drivers, seeking for love or avoiding or numbing the pain of the lack of love. Procrastination is avoidance, right? OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, many times is a way of trying to get love because am I able to control, maybe I'm able to control the other person to give me love, or it could be another way to avoid pain. So as we start looking at each one of these, you can see that they can fall into seeking for love, people pleasing, perfectionism, seeking for love, but they're also in some sense avoiding the pain, right? So when we understand these things, we can now go deeper into the uncertainty. Instead of complaining and try to let go uncertainty, understand that, the uneasiness behind not being able to feel certain or struggling with uncertainty, understand what is the mind trying to do? What is it trying to protect me from? from feeling like a failure, from feeling not good enough, from feeling inadequate. What happened during childhood that created these beliefs that now you're carrying and that the mind is trying to avoid, prevent you from confirming? When we are able to have this aha moment, this moment of connection, where we understand a bit more how the mind works, it makes it easier to face these type of things, right? Instead of beating yourself up for struggling with uncertainty, or that you're so much into controlling. Okay, what is this trying to protect me from? The anxiety that I'm feeling, that I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Hey, why is that there? Fear of what? Fear of screwing up this project, this meeting that I have tomorrow, losing this client tomorrow, whatever. Okay, what benefit would I get if that client stays? Maybe, some people might say, okay, give me money. Okay, yes, let's go deeper. What else? Recognition, acceptance, feel valued. A lot of people have tied up that if they have their own business, they're already making a lot of money, they are valued, they're recognized. Other people have gone into the 9 to 5, and it's fine, whatever you're doing, and maybe you're looking to go up in the in the corporate ladder, right? Because the higher you are, the more recognized you might feel. So we all have attached meanings to recognition. How does that come? Having a partner, having a loving partner, having kids, having money, having a title, having a degree, having a car, having an expensive car, having a big house. Each one of us has attached meaning to different things. So we need to be able to go into the mind to check what's going on in there. So again, if I struggle a lot with uncertainty, instead of fighting that struggle, instead of going into war with a part of me that is struggling with uncertainty, love and accept that part of you. Understand it. Why is it struggling? Start asking different questions. Don't go into war, because when two people are into war, normally they don't listen to each of their sides. Like, okay, why do you want to attack me? Oh, because I want this, Tommy. Hey, here you go, have it. If I don't mind, giving it away, or maybe finding a middle ground. Palestinians and Israelis. I know it's very difficult, don't get me wrong, but it's loving and accepting. Okay, Palestinians want this, Israelis want this. Okay, let's find a way to, be able to be all together. Come on. Again, I'm not saying easy, but that's the ego. Ego is fighting. Neither of them want to lose in a way. So, of course, war starts. Maybe some are more protective than attacking. Others are attacking more than protecting. It's okay. But what I mean is, what are we getting from this war? Is anybody benefiting from this war? Seriously, losing lives, right? People dying. Really? So we need to understand that the same thing we see on the outside is happening in our mind. We go into war with our part of us that is having anxiety, having stress, feeling negative. I work with a lot of people that feel depression, they're struggling with depression, and instead of loving and accepting, they're beating themselves up because they're where they are. When they're beating themselves up because of where they are, they're creating more pain. More pain is going to create more depression. So you're not solving the problem. So again, we need to go deeper to understand what's going on in the mind. And to go deeper into the mind, we need to come out of love. The mind opens up. The mind opens up when the heart is around. When I come from judgment, the mind closes. When I come from love and true intention of learning and growing, the mind opens up and reveals the deeper fears, unresolved issues, dark memories that might be stored. Like, I work with a lot of people that don't remember their past. A lot of people remember, many others don't. But as we do some practice, things start coming up because we do it from a loving, safe environment. And that's where the mind thrives, in a loving and safe environment. So whatever you're struggling, today we're talking about uncertainty. Uncertainty, as I was saying, right? There is something deeper that the mind is trying to protect you from, and uncertainty goes against that. So go deeper. explore the mind. So the three main questions that I teach over and over again: why, what do I feel? What am I feeling? Go through your feelings, write them down, do audio, whatever, record it, talk about it. How do I feel? I feel scared. I feel guilt. I feel shame. I feel sad. I feel lonely. Once you have those, go through each one. Why do I feel this? I'm scared that I don't know if I'm going to lose my job. Okay, perfect. There we go. So I'm scared. What else? Oh, it brings me a little bit of sadness. Perfect. So why scared? I know it's very basic, the question, but try to get the story of why. Oh, because if I lose my job, I'm not going to be able to provide to the family. Okay, there we go. So look at this, where I'm going with it. So I have a story there. Sad. Why sad? Because I'm not going to be able to provide to my family. Okay, what else? So I find the why behind those emotions. The next thing is, look at this. So I changed from the work into the family. You said, Tommy, that if you are fired, you're not going to be able to provide to your family. How would it make you feel about yourself if you're not able to provide to your family? I'm going to feel a complete failure, that I failed as a husband, as a mom, as a dad, or whatever. There you go. That is the partial truth that you have created, right? The partial truth is that if you are not able to provide to your family, you're a complete failure. Because look at this, if a friend of yours were telling you, right, that they feel like a complete failure because they lost a job and they cannot provide their family, is that the highest truth? Is Tommy a complete failure towards his family because he's not able to provide? If you think about it, when you're not entangled in that mess, and that's the difficult part of God, that's why sometimes it's easier to have somebody, even a friend or somebody else that can see from the outside, right? Hey, Tommy, so first we acknowledge and accept what is. Tommy, I understand that you feel this way. It makes total sense, right? We have been taught many times that if we cannot provide, we are total losers. But Tommy, if you cannot provide, can you try to find another job? Can you start your own company? Can you find another way to make money? Normally, if we think clearly, it is. I can just go and find another job. Maybe it's not going to be, paying me as I used to pay. Maybe I don't want to have the enough, the same benefits, whatever, but I can still find a way to provide. So am I a complete failure? If I were a complete failure, I wouldn't be where I'm at. Listen to this a second. I wouldn't have made it so far, having several businesses failed, failed marriage. If I were a complete failure, I wouldn't have been able to come so far. So we start understanding how the mind is thinking, and then accepting and loving that, as I always say, and then bringing a higher truth. But the person needs to be open. So first they need to be listened. They need to feel understood. They need to feel supported. That is the loving and safe environment we're creating. When you create a love and safe environment, the mind opens up to listening to something new. Listen to a new music, a new story. That's when we start bringing the new story. But if we don't understand how the mind works, it makes it very easy. Mike, when you find that, or what pain you're hiding or protecting, will it be like a light comes on? Will you know that it is for sure? Yes and no, Mike. I love your question. What Mike is asking over here, right? When you find out, right, what is going on, what is the pain, what are you protecting yourself, where it's coming from, you might have a light bulb. For a lot of people, it is. Sometimes you find that, and then you might find something even deeper. So it's like peeling an onion. You got layers. So sometimes there are more stuff involved in this. But normally people, when they really understand a bit more, it makes someone that you see the relief. It's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not inadequate. I just tend to think this way. Like today I was talking to a woman that I'm working with, and she was feeling with Tommy, everything, she didn't use like this, sorry. She said, everything is okay, but I feel so bad about myself. She has gone through a challenging situation a couple of days ago, very big challenging situation, but she was trying to minimize it and think that, oh, but Tommy, everything is okay. And I told her, you know what? Everything is not okay. I'm sorry, but everything is not okay. You just went through a very difficult, challenging situation. So everything is not okay. So I needed to validate what she was feeling. And her face started changing, like, oh, I'm allowed to not be okay because of what I'm going through. This is one of the biggest things that I see in personal development and spirituality. A lot of people that are thinking that they cannot feel negative. They cannot think negative, that they just have to feel positive. That is not true. God created all this experience with its positive and negatives. So if I'm feeling negative, instead of denying it, I need to love and accept it. So it's very important to understand this. And it's one of the most difficult things, because that is true. And listen to this, people. True unconditional love. True unconditional love is when we love and accept what is. Who has truly experienced unconditional love? Be honest. Who has truly experienced unconditional love? Very few, and in very few instances. We don't experience unconditional love every day, every single hour, every single minute. No. This world is lacking unconditional love. That's why we go into wars. That's why we fight with our partners. We fight with our kids. We fight with coworkers. We fight in the streets. We have fights with ourselves. I shouldn't feel like this. I should stop this. And I beat myself up. That is not unconditional love. That is conditional love. I love myself if I'm slim. I love myself if I change my face. I love myself only if I have my breasts in the right place, if I have bigger, smaller, if I'm taller, if I'm shorter, if I have certain amount of money, I can love myself. If I have a bigger car, or bigger house or more expensive car, I can love myself. Yes, Ringo is saying it is easier said than done. Yes, of course, Ringo, I truly get what you're saying. It is hard, but right, it was hard learning to drive, and we were able to do it. It was hard to tie up our shoelaces when we started, but we were able to do it. It was hard to ride a bicycle, and we fell and we got hurt, right? I even broke bones from riding bikes, but I ended up doing it. So yes, it is a hard path. Yes, Ringo and everybody else is saying it is a hard path, but I believe that is the only one that is going to get us out from where we are, from unhappiness, from not kind, not compassion, fighting with ourselves, fighting with others. Unconditional love is the solution to this world. And again, I get it, it's not easy, but we need to start practicing somewhere. If I want to become better at basket, I'm going to go to the park and play every opportunity I have if I can, or set certain times a week where I'm going to go to the basketball court or go to the gym or do whatever that is going to help me become better. So it's practicing, it's loving and accepting what is. If you're feeling like crap, love and accept that you feel like crap. Seriously, I know it sounds weird, but it's loving and acceptance that is going to allow you to open up to understand why you feel that way and find the partial truths that used to be called limiting, negative, false beliefs. False beliefs, that's the thing that I don't like so much. Limiting beliefs, yes. Partial truths that are holding you back. Okay? So I hope that made sense. I hope you're enjoying this. Let me know again on social media if you're liking this, if it made sense. Ringo said it makes sense, but it's easier said than done, of course. The idea is to practice over and over again. Every situation, every person in our life is an opportunity to practice stretching the muscle of the heart. That is not Tommy's quote. No, it's a quote that I have from a spiritual teacher that I love. I followed for many years, and she passed away, but I studied a lot from her. She always said, every opportunity is an opportunity to stretch your heart muscle, to practice love. When somebody is in pain, they're going to attack you. They're going to say mean things because they're in pain. What they need is love. Palestinians and Israelis need love. That's why they're doing what they're doing, killing people, killing others. What they need is love. We need to practice that love towards others and towards ourselves, and that is going to bring change. I hope that makes sense, at least to help you start practicing that a little bit. So thank you very much. We'll talk more about that in future, of course, meetings. So now I'm going to stay here on Zoom with everybody else here that are part of the other community. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy this. Take care and have a great week. Sending love to all of you out there. Take care. Bye.